Hi, this is Matthew Cratter from Trader University, and today I want to answer the question, how low can stocks go? I've been getting a lot of questions about, is it time to buy the dip now, or when will it be time to buy the dip? So I wanted to do a video on just how low I think the stock market can go. If you're interested in this bear market, want to see how I'm trading it, want to learn about trading strategies that work in a bear market, be sure to hit that subscribe button. So what we've been seeing, especially in the last week, is we've seen many years of gains wiped out. It's often said that the stock market takes the escalator up, but the elevator down, or various analogies like this. And we can see it's really true. On the S&P 500, I'm just looking at the ETF here, SPY. It's a very good proxy for the entire U.S. stock market, especially the large cap market. You can see that we are back to, call it January 2017 levels. Now it's even worse in the bond market. LQD, which is investment grade bonds, it's an ETF. LQD is all the way down back to really where it was at the end of the great financial crisis. And then we have the high yield stuff, otherwise known as junk bonds. It's basically back to crisis levels from the 2008-2009 levels. By the way, these are all weekly bars. And if we look at stocks like the cruise lines, Carnival in particular, we can see what's happened is really almost unprecedented. We're back to January, mid 1996, mid 90s levels on this, and with the possibility of bankruptcy. Obviously, a lot of these companies have a lot more debt than they've ever had before. Now, against this backdrop, we have a situation of deteriorating employment prospects. This is a great thread on Twitter. I'm going to link to all these links below. JP Morgan says that the average U.S. small business has a cash buffer of 27 days, average restaurant just 16 days. So what we're going to be seeing over the next couple years, and especially this year, we're going to be seeing very high unemployment rates as larger companies such as the airlines, the cruise lines, a lot of economically sensitive sectors lay off people. And that the unemployment rate has been very low for the past few years. As of the fourth quarter of 2019, we were in the mid threes, which is really almost as low as you can go. I would anticipate this thing moves probably into the 20s this year, 20% unemployment, which is really approaching Great Depression levels. And even with all the stimulus, which we're going to talk about, I see this staying above 10% for a very long time. So things have drastically changed here. And then just to pile bad news on bad news, if we model coronavirus and think of it, or at least worry about it, that it could come back so hopefully it subsides when the warm weather comes in the northern hemisphere in the coming weeks. But what happened with the Spanish flu in 1918 is it followed a similar pattern. It appeared in the early spring in 1918, and then it came back that fall and winter, and it was much more deadly. And as you can see in this Wikipedia article, it said in the first wave of the Spanish flu, it was mostly chronically ill people and the elderly who died from it. But the second wave killed a lot of young people and really did not discriminate based on anything, just killed people. I think something like 100 million people died worldwide. It's just unbelievable. So this is the backdrop. We don't just have a stock market here. We have an underlying economy that has very high levels of corporate debt and government debt. Interest rates are close to zero or below zero in many countries. And so in light of this, we want to answer the question, how low can stocks go? And one way to get at this is to look at previous bear markets and corrections. This is a great paper from Yardeni Research. I'll link to this. It's a free paper, and basically has the length and depth of S&P 500 corrections in bear markets since the Great Depression. Now let me scroll in a little bit here. You can see that there were some real policy missteps in the early 30s after the 1929 stock market crash and the Great Depression. So we had stocks sort of bounce and then peak again in April of 1930, and then they proceeded to go down 83%. Just hard to imagine. If you invested $1, at the end of it you were left with 17 cents. Now, I don't think things get anywhere near that bad this time around. If we look at the last two bear markets, the really big ones, we have the 2000s, or the dot-com bust, and that one lasted, the drawdown was 49% from peak to trough, and it lasted 929 days. So roughly 3 years, a little less than 3 years. The Great Financial Crisis lasted 517 days and a 56%, almost 57% drawdown. Now, to put that in perspective, the current, as I'm recording this, it is March 22nd. We can see that the market peaked on February 19th, so it really has barely been a month. This is the fastest correction, or fastest stock market crash in history, I believe. Things have fallen much faster than they did even during the Great Depression. So, to put in perspective, against this economic backdrop and viral backdrop, it would be very surprising to see this thing be over in just a couple months. Doesn't mean we're not going to get violent bear market rallies, and a lot of people don't realize that stock market rallies inside of a bear market are much more violent and much faster. So you can have a quick 20% move up, which kills everyone who's short, and then the market proceeds to go to new lows. So high volatility is part of this regime. So if we model, maybe we expect the policy response to be a little faster and bigger, so we get something less than 500 days or less than 900 days. But my guess would be that the market sells off for at least a year. So we're talking February 2021 would be about, somewhere around, obviously I don't have a crystal ball, somewhere around where we get a sort of final bottom to this move. And there are a lot of reasons for this. One, if we do get a very bad winter, like the Spanish flu, which came back, this will be sort of the heart of the misery sometime in January or February of 2021. So, all of which is to say, I'm keeping my powder dry. None of this is investment advice, but it's good to keep your powder dry if you have powder left and you're not completely invested. Now, in terms of drawdowns, 50% roughly, 49%, 57%. So let's just look at what these kind of moves would look like on a chart. So if we look at SPY, the peak was at 338.34. This was the closing high on the ETF. If you look at the index itself, it might be slightly off by a couple pennies. So that's the closing high. So then the question is, what sort of drawdowns do we have? Well, 30% drawdown, peak to trough, would get us to about 236, a little more than 236, almost 237. Now you can see that we closed below 230, so we've already gone down more than 30%. A minus 40% would take us to 203. And then a minus 50% would take us to 169, roughly. And I'm rounding all these numbers. So what do I think is going to happen? I don't think we see a drawdown more than around 40%. So I would be comfortable buying when the S&P is down 40%. Maybe we say we test the 200 level. And, it'd be a little more than 40%. But we test the 200 level at SPY, or we wait for a year, whichever comes first. I don't think we see a scenario where the stock market is down 50%. I just don't think that, I don't think the economy can handle it. And in many cases now, the stock market is driving the economy even more than the economy's driving the stock market. Now, why do I think that this drawdown won't be quite as deep as the 2000, 2002, or the 2008, 2009? Well, I think simply because of the fiscal response we're going to be seeing is going to prop up the market. So there's currently a bill which is just unbelievable. This is put forward by Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, and she's basically calling for, there's some funny mechanics here where they're going to print these special platinum coins the U.S. Mint is going to do it and pretend that each one is worth $1 trillion. And this is a way of raising, basically raising $2 trillion. It's hard to even believe I'm saying these words. And then that money is going to be paid out to everyone in the U.S., non-citizens, citizens, illegal immigrants, everyone. $2,000 to everyone in the first boost. If this is still just a bill, it hasn't passed yet. But if something like this happens, for example, there are 5 people in my family. I have 3 kids, and so we would get a check for $10,000 from the federal government. That's sort of made up from these special, it's basically the money's being printed, and they're doing this workaround by pretending that there's some coins that are securing it, but they are going to print money. So a family of 5 would get $10,000 a month the first month, and then $1,000 a month per person after that, so $5,000 a month. So we're talking really, really large amounts of money here, especially considering U.S. median income in the U.S. is around $60,000. All of this is to try to counteract the unemployment, the collapse of small businesses, and to try to sort of inject more liquidity in the system. Interest rates are basically at 0, so it's very difficult to do it through conventional means by lowering interest rates. But what we're going to be seeing is a lot of money printing and a lot of fiscal stimulus. So basically government spending, central bank printing money and distributing free money to companies in the form of bailouts and individuals in the form of debit cards or preloaded debit cards or checks in the mail. And so I think all of this will help to cushion the fall in the S&P. And that's why I'm calling for closer to a 40% sell-off. Now, if we look at, I wanted to show you another chart that's kind of interesting. This I got from Vulcan Trader, and I'll link to his YouTube channel below, especially should you buy gold, the best time to buy gold and silver, how to use the market indices, moving averages, etc. A bunch of good videos on here. And so I got this idea from him. This is the SPY again, the S&P 500. These are monthly bars, and I've added a moving average, a 50-month moving average. And so this is one way of measuring a trend. You can see that we've been in a very smooth uptrend since really, call it third or fourth quarter of 2011. And this moving average line has sort of defined how low the market's willing to go. And so you can see that we found very good support here in the 2016 sell-off and in the late 2018 sell-off. Now what's happened now is we've completely blasted through this trend, which is a fairly good sign of a trend reversal. And what this means is that we're probably in for fairly choppy times, a fairly choppy decade for equities. If we scroll out here, we can sort of see that the late 80s, early 90s, all the way up to 2000 were a very smooth trend. Really, basically a bear market from a bull market. I'm sorry, a bull market from 1982 to 2000. Respected this line very well, and then it crossed below it during the bear market of 2000, 2002, and then you basically had a lost decade from 2000 to 2010, 2011. And so if I had to guess, I would guess that we're in for a lost decade where buy and hold does not work that well. Maybe we bounce between a range of call it 200 and the highs, you know, around 340, and we basically have a lost decade where we spend all our time bouncing around in here. Now, as part of this, what is going to happen is the currency is going to be debased, because when you're basically giving people free money, especially trillions of dollars, you are going to have the value of the U.S. dollar is going to go down. And what this means is this is going to help to support asset prices, help to support real estate prices, help to support stock prices as well to a certain extent. But what it does mean, and I'm coming to the conclusion that it's no longer a good idea to be long the long Treasury bonds. So we talked about IEF and TLT, which I've been long the futures version, which is TY or TN. And so I'm going to be taking profits on this, because if you have craziness going on where they're just printing money, it's going to be inflationary. And I was originally long these on the thought that interest rates would go to zero. But I'm going to take profits in the futures when they open this afternoon, Sunday afternoon. Again, not investment advice or anything, just telling you all what I'm doing. And so all I'll really have left in terms of public markets is I still have puts on Tesla. I believe they're June 2021, 200 strike puts, which I've just been holding. I was sort of stuck in them, and I think they're back to break even now. I'm going to be holding on to those because I think Tesla is definitely at risk here. And I will also be holding on to Bitcoin, because as the US dollar is forced down, as you get a depreciation and devaluation of all fiat currencies, Bitcoin should do really, really well during this lost decade. Now, if you want to prepare for this lost decade, and if you've listened this far, and you have a sense that buy and hold is just not going to work very well. Also, if you're stuck at home with nothing to do, check out my courses if you like the way I teach. And a bunch of courses here on trading stocks, trading options, swing trading with options, crypto, bear market strategies, price action trading. And basically, when you join Trader University Premium, you get access to all of these courses, unlimited access to all these courses for 30 days. Now, the tuition for 30 days is normally just $125 for 30 days access, but I'm currently running a special for YouTube subscribers. If you just basically, if you click join, click get it now right here, and I'll put a link in this description notes below. You go to the checkout page here, and where it says coupon code, if you type YT99 and click update, that will take $26 off, giving you access to all 12 courses for just $99 for 30 days. Great way to spend your time, basically expanding your trader toolkit and preparing for this difficult decade ahead. Now, there are no long-term contracts, and you could basically sign up, watch all the courses, and cancel before 30 days, and you will have gotten a very good deal indeed. Thanks a lot for listening. Hit that subscribe button and that like button if you haven't done so already, and let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for listening, and see you in the next video.